Welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and tonight we're going to go over the Bengals versus Chiefs reaction, and then we're going to do the Bengals versus Browns prediction. So I guess starting off, what was your, initial reaction to the Chiefs game?
Oh, it's just a huge win. And then I guess followed immediately by, you know, wondering if we're going to have to play them again. I guess I'm thinking playoffs, right? So I guess it's all good, right? Now I'm starting, my brain's already skipped from, oh no, the sky's falling to like, oh, well, what will happen if we have to play the Chiefs again in the playoffs? So, um, all good, all positive. What do you think?
Um, I don't know. It was weird, but I guess we kind of talked about it last week. But I just felt like I had a weird kind of confidence going into it. But I guess
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that kind of took me by surprise was that it just felt like their defense couldn't really stop us. It didn't seem like at
No,
any point throughout the game where like we had moments where we had a punt or whatever, but for the most part, the majority of the drives we were just moving down the field. And the times that we did have the punt, it was usually because we had mistakes because of penalties and stuff like that. And if we would just played a little bit more, mistake free, or maybe on the defensive end, if we were a little bit more opportunistic. Now I know we had that fumble, but like we could have had a few other turnovers. Like the one where I think Reeder tipped up a pass, and I think Hilton almost got that interception.
mm-hmm.
And then Cam Taylor Britt, I think he had an interception that was kind of knocked out. There's like three players at that one, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just there's like all these different things. And then we had that drop touchdown by Boyd, which was incredible because it was like so wide open. It was just like one of those things where like they showed
Yeah,
it on the replay in slow motion, and I guess that's right. You were at the game, and
yeah.
it literally hits his helmet, like it dinks him in the head. It's like so perfect of a pass or play or whatever you want to call it. That
Yeah,
it was just
the
like
throw looked good. I mean, I was surprised they didn't score, but um, when the Bengals got off to a good start and scored, touchdowns in the first half, I really wasn't worried about the Boyd. I mean, I guess it sounds weird. I wasn't worried that they had a touchdown and they didn't get it, right? Um, because you know there have been so many games where the Bengals have had like a slow start and they weren't fighting back from a deficit, right? So they had a little bit of margin for error. And, I just felt like if Burrow has the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win, that the Bengals were going to win, you know? And that's how it played out, right? It's almost kind of, I mean, it's the way the NFL is going with the good teams, but for sure, when you play the Chiefs, right, you don't want them to have the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win. And I guess it's 2 weeks in a row where the Bengals had the last possession and just ran the clock out. So I just always had that sense that okay, we're still within a score, no matter, or we were probably ahead at that point. Um, but it was never like we needed two scores, right, to win. So even if things went wrong or things weren't going perfect, even though the game was good, right? There are only two weird plays, right? The Boyd thing, and then the 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 end around thing that ended up being a loss on a fourth down. I
you're
don't
talking
know.
about the Dunlap where they tried to do the
Yeah,
jet
yeah,
sweep.
yeah.
I think it was
Like
just what
those.
I think that might have just been good coaching, or maybe just a heads up play by
Yeah,
Dunlap.
I just didn't I just didn't like it. I felt like they did the QB sneak a play early. I mean, you know how much I like P Ryan. I was just like, just have him run it twice.
Right? Why
I'd
not?
be okay with two P Ryan runs right up the middle, right? They hadn't stopped it. Um, but I don't know. I the other thing is, I don't like seeing Burrow run around so much and get hit. I mean, I guess it's better to be running and get hit than it is to get sacked and get hit. But um, What was you remember that play where it was like it looked like they faked a run, or there was like either a missed handoff or a fake run where like Burrow was like following behind P Ryan, and
Yeah, yeah, you got like 20 yards off of it, but
yeah, but I didn't like that play. I don't like that. If that's on purpose, then they need to stop it.
see, I would
I
like that
mean,
play if it was like, and we kind of talked about this last week too, where if you have like P Ryan and Mixon, and you're like faking the handoff to P Ryan, and he's going ahead of Mixon, it's kind of like a
yeah,
lead blocker. Like do
yeah,
it
just
that
don't do
way,
it with Joe Burrow. I
right?
don't. I don't think.
But
I mean, I think there's so many other ways to get 10, 15 yards that
but
you shouldn't be
that's
doing that.
it's weird because this is the thing that we notice is that we're like the fans, and we understand everything that's going on. Like we see the value in Joe Burrow, and sometimes I feel like we're like the parents, right? Where
Mhm.
we're kind of like, especially when we understand like what we have at risk. So it's like, I mean, a 20-yard run in a game is nice, but like, are you really willing to risk your future quarterback for that? No. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that's what we think about. But if you listen to Joe Burrow and like the way he talks, because like I try to keep up with a lot of interviews that he does with like whoever
mhm.
he talks to that week or whatever, and he likes that type of stuff. Like he doesn't have that fear of like the negative
Well,
outcome.
yeah,
He always
right.
thinks about like the positive outcome of it, and he's more in tune of like he would see it as a bad thing if like they were rely on that type of stuff like every other play. But if it's like once in a blue moon type of thing, he's more or less like he just kind of goes with the flow type deal, and he
Yeah,
just understands.
I still burn that play.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's just, but it kind of goes back to like because I feel like there's been a few weeks in a row. I can definitely think about this week and this past week where like you have those moments where like if things don't go your way, right, you have that half a second of just to improvise, and like normally we're
Hmm.
used to it to working out, but we've had situations where we had 2 weeks in a row where it doesn't work out, and he like takes a sack, right? Because like last week when we were playing against the Titans, there was this one where he took a sack where like the protection seemed decent, right?
Hmm.
And then like he kind of like he did the same thing against the Chiefs, but this was at the very end of the game, right? Where he takes a
Hmm.
sack, but then it's like third and long now, like third and 13, and then he converts that third down with just an amazing pass over the middle to Tyler Boyd, or not Tyler Boyd, T Higgins,
Are you
and then
talking about the sack at the end of the game this week,
yeah, like because the
right
protection
before the
initially
two
was
minute
good,
warning?
yeah, because it's one of those things where like
Well, it was a bad play because he should have thrown it away because
right,
the 2 minute warning was coming, so it didn't
yeah,
matter.
you have
He
enough
didn't need
time
to
where
stay
like
in bounds.
yeah, I think it's just maybe he gets those flashbacks of things that has happened in the past, and you're just so used to things like coming in front of you.
Hmm.
And then, because what happens is like when he gets those moments where he gets maybe a little bit too excited, and and again, like what I'm talking about is like really rare. Like it happens, coincidentally, it just happened 2 weeks in a row, but it happens every now and then. It's just that he'll run away like outside of the pocket when he doesn't necessarily have to, and then once he breaks the pocket, it's just easier for the
Hmm.
defender to kind of like get him down because like once you break that contain, then it's just like it kind of feels like the
Yeah,
dam has broken, right? So like,
right.
but
But he's good enough that it didn't matter
right,
in,
yeah,
in
yeah.
the outcome of the game. So
I guess what I'm saying is like, for the most part, when he improvises, it's like we get like a big play typically, right?
mhm.
I guess what I'm going with is that like I guess like I've kind of gotten over the fear of it because like I just kind of trust that he is going to do probably what's best for the situation. And I mean, if something happens, it happens. But I don't know. I guess you just can't live in that fear. But I mean, to a certain extent, I agree. Like you just don't want that to be like a normal thing where we're just asking him to run the ball because
Yeah,
it's just not worth it, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, maybe it keeps the defense off balance and yada yada, but I still wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think it was a broken play to a certain extent, and I think he was
Okay,
just
well, if it's a broken play and it's not on purpose, then it's no big deal.
yeah, because
Like I couldn't tell.
I
I
I
couldn't
think
tell.
I think what happened was like he did the play as it was called, and then once he ran it through, I think he saw something, and then he just reacted off of it, and
Hmm.
he just ran like because as soon as they like fake the handoff right, and P Ryan's running
Hmm.
up the hole, like it's almost like he reacts off of that, and he just starts running.
Mm. Okay.
So I don't know if he noticed something. Maybe it was a called play. I don't know, but it just seemed like.
Yeah, it was weird, but I mean, if it's not called play, then it's not worth worrying about because they're not calling it. So
But I think because got such a big, I guess since it was a big play at the time, even if it was a busted play, they probably wouldn't even admit it at this point. Like
yeah,
just
that's
because it's
that's
just
just in their
well, it
in
could
their
be a wrinkle,
playbook.
right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something that a defense could possibly have to prepare for. But I guess another thing I've noticed with the game is that I do it finally feels like our offensive line is better, right? I think I can confidently say that I think where they kind of excel right now is like the run blocking,
Hmm.
like because I mean P Ryan again had another really good game. I mean 21 carries over 100 yards, and then I think he almost had
Hmm.
another 40 or 50 yards in receiving, and
Yeah.
it's just
Remember
like
someone saying that P Ryan should get more carries. I can't remember who it was.
yeah, no, I mean, and I think you're right to a certain extent. I just think I think they gotta find the right like mix, but I think because of the way the injuries had happened throughout the season, it's kind of shown us like how we could lean on certain players in certain situations, and it's just like it's kind of made us maybe more of a deeper team because like
Yeah.
more players are getting experience that they normally wouldn't have if someone hadn't gotten injured.
Hmm.
But I I guess I don't know. I would like to see him spell Mixon a little bit more, but I don't know. I
Hmm.
guess the main difference is that Mixon's just got like that breakaway speed where like he could turn that 15-yard play into like maybe like a 50-yard touchdown. Not to
Yeah.
say P Ryan can't make those big plays, that he just doesn't have that same burst. But either
No, he
way,
doesn't.
in the grand scheme of things, like to have P Ryan do what he did, it just gives us more confidence going down. Um,
No, it's interesting because I'm thinking of it more from the third and fourth running back side. It's just is Chris Evans gonna be the odd man out? You know.
I think he might because Williams, like his return, special teams, like that's his
Mhm.
edge, and then
Well, he's
even
been running good too.
yeah. I was gonna say, and when he's gotten the chance to spell someone, he's actually done pretty decent to get yards.
Hmm.
But the fact that he's playing so well in special teams on the returns perspective, that's like that's gold to us right now because like that's definitely something that we need to improve on. That
Yeah,
was definitely
but his
lackluster.
his his touchdown was pretty cool.
Oh,
I thought it was interesting. I like the idea of putting Jamar as the tailback and then having the tailback go play wide receiver and then throwing it to the tailback because nobody's covering him. It's
yeah.
interesting.
Well, and
It was cute good as opposed to the cute bad of the Trent Taylor jet sweep on like fourth and one when you got a
well,
power back
but
that's
on that
averaging
play
5 yards
though,
a
like
carry.
because I agree it sucks when it doesn't work. But the thing is if Dunlap didn't do what he did, then it would have been an easy touchdown. Because like had he got
Hmm.
past Dunlap, there was no one there. It was such a huge space. So it was like
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's just like you've been winning with that power.
no, I
You've
yeah
got the
yeah yeah.
guy. He's all lathered up. He's ready to go. Just have him. I mean, and really, I'm it was like the sequence of plays. It was like the sneak on third down and then the jet sweep on fourth down. I would have much rather have seen just a run with P Ryan on third down. You
Right.
know, I mean
Yeah.
that may have. I mean, I would have bet that would have gotten a first down at that point in time. You
No,
know,
no,
I don't like doing too many quarterback sneaks. Like I know it works, but I don't like it.
yeah, I no, I agree with that because it just seemed like throughout the whole game, whether we needed like 5 yards, basically 3 to 5 yards, we were just getting those first downs, and then
Yeah,
some a little
yeah. I
bit.
mean,
You know, we were just
he was just churning through that defense, and you know, I mean, it drove all the way down there, so why not do it again? But you know,
well.
it didn't ultimately it didn't matter. I mean, you know,
So I
you
guess
can nitpick at the things that worked and didn't work, but the the just reminds me of last year where it seems like there was always a play that was weird that you know that like the offensive staff, I don't want to just say Zach Taylor, but you know, they came up with some kind of, you know, to use your word wrinkle, but I always see it as like a trick play, right? Or a specific play, right? And that touchdown that Chris Evans was kind of like you can see them set it up, you know, because they had Jamar play wide or running back in one earlier play. Can't remember if they threw it to him or not. I think they might have thrown it to him, but I can't remember 100%. Um, but then, you know, it was just like it completely threw the defense off and he just walked in for the touchdown.
yeah, he seemed pretty open. Like
Yeah. Like nobody was guarding him. I mean,
no,
he might have ran through a zone or something. Cause like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
it seemed like
like
that's
my
what happened.
perspective is like right on that end line and you can just see like, wow, nobody's following him because like they had all of the other receivers run in that same direction and he was the shallowest route and it was just like everybody was guarding the end zone and he was running free um short of the end zone and
I,
then you know
it
nobody could react fast enough to get him.
well, from what I understand, I think he used to be like a receiver back in the day. I don't know if it was like high school or maybe even like early college years, but like
Mhm.
Chris Evans, like he used to be a receiver, so I think that's why they like to put him in those positions where they can kind of catch people off guard. Because I feel like he
Yeah.
had another touchdown earlier in the year where it was like he did like that fade,
Hmm.
and they weren't really like
Yeah, maybe he is a
weren't.
receiver, maybe he's not a running back.
Yeah, yeah, and I think maybe that's where he'll benefit, or maybe will benefit, is that like because we could kind of throw him in there when they're not really paying attention, and they're not gonna really have that much film on him, and he's
Mhm.
always doing like those that small thing. So I guess where I'm getting at is we might be in a situation where we might have four active running backs instead of just the three. But I don't know that would be asking a lot. That because I don't know who you would deactivate at that point if you kept four, because that you would almost have to have one less receiver, and I don't think they would do that. Or maybe they could just roll with two tight ends, and
Yeah.
then because you could always, if you need someone to block, you just bring in that tackle.
Hmm.
They always seem to do, because it doesn't seem like Hurst is going to play. But I was going to ask you that because I think one of the things that kind of got buried during the whole game, because it was such a good game, and it felt like from the Bengals' perspective, like almost every single person or position like kind of like helped us win the game. But
Hmm.
Jamar Chase's return was kind of like, I don't know, it was weird. He just like had a sneaky like really good game. I felt like because like he ended up almost with 100 yards. I think he had like 7 catches, and then that one play where he got like 40 yards.
Hmm.
It was just it. He's just so like I guess electrifying, right? Like, I
Hmm.
guess my question to you is like, did he seem any different? Did he look just as
He seems
fast?
awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, you could tell that they were trying to take away the deep stuff and they were more given up like underneath. So it's hard to say like the speed, right? Um, but I don't know. To me, the most impressive thing he did was he caught like that one-handed pass. I mean,
Oh,
he
that
caught it.
it was
It
out of
wasn't it
bounds.
wasn't a catch. It was out of bounds. But
Yeah,
I mean, from my perspective, it looked like the ball. Like I mean, I could. It was like right in line with my face, right? And I'm looking at the spiral coming towards me. I was like, oh, that's he's just throwing that away. And then you just see like Jamar stick his hand up and just catch it. I was like, holy crap.
yeah. I feel like it's like the third or fourth time he's done that throughout this this year, basically. Like I feel like he's done that
Hmm.
a couple times in training camp, or I've seen the highlights where he just goes up with the one hand and just grabs it. And I feel like he did
Yeah,
that kind of earlier this year too, where like he kind of did it off the sidelines and it didn't count again. It
yeah.
was
But
close, but
I didn't notice anything. But it's hard to say because I would guess that Kansas City decided that they weren't going to let him run past them. So,
yeah, I like this is where I feel like the progression of the season is like it seemed like at the beginning of the year we didn't know how to put it all together. Like I think part
well,
of it
yeah.
was there was higher expectations. I think people were or teams were a little bit more prepared for us. So like it was more a matter of us just trying to figure out how to adjust to that. And
Hmm.
then along the season we were having injuries as well. So like I feel like with Jamar Chase being out, that actually kind of helped us, or even like Mixon being out. It's just when you can rely on those other players and they're able to perform, it just kind of gives you that relief. And then specifically with the receivers, I felt like because that first game when Chase was gone, you could just felt like you could tell it was kind of weird. We weren't really used to that because he just takes so much attention away from other people.
Hmm.
Because we had the Browns, but then once we got past the Browns, it's just like once we figured it out, it just wasn't that big of a deal. And then I feel like when you bring him back in, it's just like I feel like now we should just be hitting on all cylinders, right? So I it seems like
Yeah,
we're picking up the
I
right
think
team.
they did. It's almost to me when you say that, it's almost like you could see, right, that they opened the game up for each other, like the receivers.
Yeah,
Because when Jamar was out, there were a few games where Boyd didn't was they were able to guard Boyd, right, and not give up stuff. And this game, like I mean, Boyd was open all over the field,
yeah.
right?
Well, so like exactly. So like this game felt like what it should have been like early in the year, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Where
what
it
we were
felt
saying, right?
where it felt like Boyd should be getting more action and just he wasn't really getting it. But now like I think since we've been through probably most of the scenarios where I guess teams know how to counter us based off of last year.
Hmm.
Now we know how to counter that, right? So we're like now we're kind of like caught up to the defenses that finally figured out like kind of how to slow us down. Cuz like
Yeah.
even if you like if you look back to our schedule like we're actually especially compared to other teams like we're doing pretty good. Like
Hmm.
a lot of the games that we win, we're in the 20 points like higher 20s or even in the 30s, right? That's pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean, the games that we
Mhm.
lost, those are the ones where we score like 17 or like 20 or
Yeah.
whatever,
Well,
but
I
it was
mean,
still pretty decent.
the last two games, they could have scored more points, but they didn't need to. They were just
Right.
down on the ball, right?
Right.
But I mean, like last week, I mean, like they literally
We
kicked
probably
a
could have
field goal,
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, last week if we like
and then this week they for sure could have kicked a field goal, right?
right.
If they wanted to score another 3 points, but there's no point to it. But I mean, like in addition to scoring close to 30, like they're leaving by choice 3 points off the board because they don't even need them. You know,
Right. Yeah.
they're just so good that they have a big margin for error, right? Like it's like you have the Andy Dalton Bengals where like you would play mistake free football and you'd have a chance to win until the mistake happened. But this team is so good that even if there are mistakes, you know, like drop touchdown passes or plays getting blown up on 4th and 1 in the red zone, or a quarterback taking a sack at the end of the game, when they should have
See,
thrown it away. It doesn't matter because they're just so good that they can overcome those things because they've got players that make big plays, and that's just a sign of a really good team, right?
yeah,
They
yeah.
did not play. Everything did not go their way.
And that's something I wanted to say and point out this week, and I think that's why you could tell that we turned, I guess, a leaf, or like we're hitting like that next milestone. Is that the way that Kansas City played us? Like they didn't want us to have the ball, right?
Hmm.
Like they kept on going for it on fourth down certain times, and they even went for it on fourth when they were like basically on the goal line, where it was like a
Yeah,
just
that's
easy
like the first time I've ever seen Andy Reid do that against the Bengals. I
because
remember.
he knows. It's because they know
Yeah,
they
they
don't
know they
want.
need the points.
Yeah, and that was like it just tells you where we're at as a team, as an organization with Joe Burrow, and not only that, there was like three different times or instances where you can just tell where the Chiefs really want to win this game,
Hmm.
and they were just frustrated because like Mahomes was frustrated. There was a defensive lineman that was really frustrated, and then of course Kelsey had his moments, and like I know part of it was that he fumbled, and I'm sure a lot of it was that he was probably just upset with himself, but like
Hmm.
but you could all, and then the safety that was covering or was that a corner? It was a corner or safety, one of the DBs. Basically last play of the game where T Higgins catches that pass to convert that
Hmm.
third and long. Like he was upset. Like he was so like he was like as soon as T caught that pass and he got that first down, he was already like mad. So you could just tell
Yeah,
from the Chiefs' perspectives that they really want to win this game. Like
yeah,
it mattered to them. This was a playoff game
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
It just felt like a heavyweight boxing match. It was just like back
yeah.
and forth, and
It's a good game.
it was weird too because like normally like when teams like come back like that when they scored and took the lead, I guess twice,
Hmm.
you kind of get used to like well there it goes, right? Like normally
Yeah,
when they take back the lead, it's just like you used to just them keeping the momentum, but it's definitely different with Burrow for sure.
yeah. No, I mean that's how I felt the whole game. I was just like, as long as we get the ball at the end, we'll be fine.
Yeah,
So
because 2 weeks in a row where we just
it
we
was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun walking out of the stadium. Now getting from the outside of the stadium to like the street is a freaking nightmare. But like actually walking up the concourses, everybody's happy.
yeah,
You know, it's like
especially that
this
game.
is this is the most fun experience of being a Bengals fan in a while.
Well,
You know,
it
just
was
like
just
that
like
feeling.
when we beat the Titans the way we did last week, especially without Chase or Mixon, right?
Yeah,
And
that was cool. But I mean, like just being out in it around
right,
everybody. I was
but
actually
then
happy.
to do it again against the Chiefs,
Yeah, no,
that's
it's quite the run.
yeah. Well, I guess okay. Well, from going to the Chiefs to the Browns, this is
Okay,
definitely switching gears, but
all right. You want to pull up the predictions?
sure, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess the biggest news is the chance of making the playoffs took a massive jump. Right, Bengals are now 90% odds to make the playoffs, according to like this magic estimator. Right?
I wonder if they take Lamar Jackson's injury in effect.
They do.
Okay, yeah, that
See,
makes sense.
they adjusted it. They adjusted their ELO, which I don't remember exactly how it works, but that's not important because we've been using this all year. So, but yeah, they gave him a minus 129 for the QB. So it's basically put the Bengals in kind of even footing ish to win the division, even. But that's to be seen, right? Like, I think this must assume that that's the quarterback situation here on out. And I think Lamar is like week to week, so he may play in 2 weeks. But um, if Pittsburgh wins, that makes a big difference, I think. Because if the Bengals win and then Pittsburgh wins, then
Well, so yeah, Bengals win,
and that's the difference.
Pittsburgh wins, then you might have a weird scenario. Well, if we win, we basically knock the Browns out, I think, of contention. I think that pretty much closes the door for them on this season. But not only that, if the Steelers win, because I think they play the Ravens, two more times before the end of the season this week, and then I think the second to last week. I mean, they would essentially have to win out. This is like a really crazy scenario. I mean, there's a scenario where if the Steelers win out, and maybe if the Ravens lose a few more games,
Mhm.
the Steelers can make it in again. It's kind of like what they did last year. They sneak in, and the Ravens drop out.
Well,
But
the best the Steelers can do is 9-7.
right.
Or I'm sorry, 10-7.
Okay, yeah. I don't think they necessarily have to go 10-7, but I think if they get to 9-8, I think they can sneak
Nine
in.
and eight.
Yeah, but they would have to win the
That's
right.
tough. Then the Ravens would. I mean,
But that would assume that the Ravens would lose. I guess that would be 3 games, right?
yeah,
No, they would have to lose 4 games. That doesn't make sense.
yeah, they'd have to lose 4.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
no,
no, no, no,
but
no.
if they're tied, and then Pittsburgh wins both head to head, then yeah, if they both end up at
Same record.
9-8 or whatever, or 10-7, then if they
10-7 would be
win,
more realistic. I don't
yeah,
see.
but that's gonna be hard because they'd have to win out.
Yeah, they would essentially have to win out. But I don't know. I do
Possible, but
I
much
do
harder.
like the Steelers this week because obviously Lamar Jackson's hurt, and then I don't know. The Steelers are just a weird team like that where they're gonna get one of those
Yeah,
games. I feel like.
how weird would it be if this final matchup, the Baltimore and Cincinnati, how I've been saying, I hope it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because the Bengals have already clinched the division.
It's possible. I mean,
Yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible with, I mean, there's still quite a few games left. Is it 5 games? Yeah, there's 5 games
I know
left.
I don't know how you really still feel about this, but I mean we're still in play for the number 1 seed. I mean, if we get the number 1 seed, and that's something that we should still really think about. I mean, that would kind of have to require us to win out. But that would be so beneficial to us because we essentially get another bye, and then that would essentially force the Chiefs and Bill to have to play each other before we have to play
Right.
one of those teams, and that would be
Well, I don't
huge.
know. I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, if
It
you're in the number
forces
1
them to
seed,
play each other.
yeah, because think about it. If we're the number 1 seed, right,
Right.
then 2
Okay.
and 3 have to play each other. 2 and 3 would have to be the Bills and Chiefs. It's going to be the 1, 2, and 3 is going to be the Chiefs, Bills,
But
Bengals.
yeah, I guess you're assuming that the Bills and Chiefs are 2 and 3,
Yeah.
and that they.
Who else is
Okay.
going to be who's going to be the 3? It's not going to be the Titans. It's not going to be. I mean, it's not going to be the Ravens, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, look at the Titans' schedule: Jacksonville, Chargers, Houston. The Dallas. That's a big game. We play Jacksonville twice, Houston, and the Chargers. So
Chargers are going to be a
they-
desperate team. They're going to need it more than the Titans because of the wild card. So that's a potential
you're
loss.
doing a lot of high order math here.
Well,
I mean, you definitely it's better, right?
Dallas is going to be going for the number 1 seed. So
No, they're not. The Eagles have the number 1 seed, right? They're 11-1.
I think are they 11-1 or 11-2? I thought they lost.
Well, according to the thing that I'm looking at now, it says Eagles are 11-1.
Oh, okay. They're only 2 games back though. They I think the
Yeah,
Eagles.
but then the Eagles are going to have to start losing
Right,
for
but
the Dallas for
so
Cowboys to pass
I'm
them.
pretty sure
So
the
do
Eagles
they
and
play more than
Cowboys
once?
they play. I think either at the very last week.
They play the week 16.
Okay, so they play one more time, and then so that would just require the Eagles to lose one more time against a different opponent. So it's still possible.
Yeah, it's possible. But I mean,
Most of this stuff will be more clear 2 weeks from now, but like there's,
well, yeah, for sure.
but I guess there's a lot of. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Also, you forget the Vikings are 10-2.
That's true. Vikings.
So I don't know. The NFC looks a lot well, AFC is pretty tough too. Bills, Chiefs, Bengals. Then you got Eagles, Cowboys, Vikings.
Now teams are definitely starting to separate. Like you can definitely see where the top end teams are versus the low end teams, and the ones that are kind of like in between. But okay, but in terms of the Browns, do you? I don't know. I feel weird about this game where like I feel good in the Bengals. It's just one of those games where I don't even want to give a prediction in terms of score.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like they're gonna
Well, they
win.
got to do that.
Like I want them to win,
Yeah.
but this
Well,
is a game.
according to this 538 model,
Okay,
the Bengals should be favored by 5. They have a 68% win percentage, but
that's an interesting number. I wonder why. It seems kind of low. I feel like it should be a little bit higher than that,
well,
but
let's
it is
see.
the Browns, and we've always
Look
had
at the
issues with the
spread.
Browns. Sure.
Okay, the spread's 6.
Oh,
The
okay,
Bengals are
okay.
favored by 6. Over under of 47. So that implies like a 27 to 20 score, or 27, or 26-20, or 20. Wait, what am I doing? 26-21, or like 27-20. It's so hard to say because the Browns have run the ball so well on the Bengals. They have Deshaun Watson now, who there'll be a second game back. I don't know if you knock all the rust off by the second week, but I think that you make a big step. Wouldn't you think you make a big step between your first game back and your second game back by knocking the rust off?
I think he's gonna feel more acclimated 3 to 5 games. Because this is the
Yeah,
way I
for
see it.
sure. I mean,
Look, look,
I mean,
look.
this season is to get them back to getting used to being an
Right. This
NFL
this
player,
this is
right?
basically his preseason, right? So like the Houston Texans looked really good like the first half. Like their defense playing against him,
Hmm.
or even like throughout the game, like he didn't look that great. So
Hmm.
going from the Texans to the Bengals in itself should feel like a shock to him, right? So
Okay.
he got his feet wet with the first game, whatever, coming back after a few years, but I just he should feel a difference between their defense and our defense, right?
Hmm.
And plus he's gonna have that pressure of like another thing people don't really keep in mind is that if you're playing against a Joe Burrow type quarterback, you have to score, right? That's like a whole nother element. If like when you're playing a really good quarterback and you're that other quarterback, you have to score. So like when you have that pressure of having to score plus playing a pretty solid defense, I don't know. In my mind, this game should be pretty lopsided. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that way because obviously the first game didn't go the way that we thought it would.
Hmm.
But I still think we're a way better team
Yeah.
now than what we were that specific week. And I think
Yeah.
it was just one
I'm
of those
gonna look
weird.
up what was their score in their game
It was like
versus the
30 to
Texans.
like 13 or
20.
something.
Well, it was 27-14, but I think they
Oh, I think
scored 3 non-offensive touchdowns.
yeah, which is crazy.
So yeah,
I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson had 2 interceptions too. So I know one was in the red zone. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean the moments I got to see through like red zone and stuff like that, you could just tell like, and it makes sense. I mean like
So their offense scored 6.
that's crazy.
So yeah. Okay. So you're not gonna make a prediction, right?
I mean I will I will.
Okay.
I'll just be conservative.
I'm gonna go like. Feel like the Bengals should have scored 30 this last week, so I'm gonna go 30. No, I'm not gonna go 30. I'm gonna go 27. I think it's gonna be like 27-17. So that's what I'm going with. So the under, but the Bengals cover.
Okay.
Your thoughts? Wait,
I will go. I will go. I'll go 30 to 25 Bengals.
Okay.
And I feel like it should be more.
25. How do you get the Titans scoring 25? Or not Titans, the Browns. Like, what makes you think
You
they're going
might
to
as well
score so
say the
much?
Titans, because it's probably not going to happen. I don't know, just whatever came to mind.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, would you say 30, 25?
30 25, yeah.
Okay, so now I got to check the scoregami because you like to come up with weird scores. So, 30. Winning team with 30. Losing team with 25. It has happened twice. Most recently in 2009.
Okay.
Dolphins v Jets. So, has happened.
I guess you have to have a safety, right? To get to 25.
Oh, well, let's see. I can tell you how they did it. 30, 25. Box score. It says scoring field goal, field goal, field goal, touchdown. Touchdown, 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 and yeah, both teams went for 2 and failed.
Yeah, that would be that makes sense this year actually.
No, wait, what does it say? There, I think they. So, yeah, so the Jets went for 2. Wait, Braylon Edwards from Mark Sanchez.
That makes
pass
sense.
fail.
Like say if you had
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, right? And one of those you missed the extra
Okay.
2-point
So the
conversions,
the, the
and then 2
Jets
field
missed the
goals.
2-point conversion twice. That's what happened. And then the Dolphins missed the 2-point conversion once. So 3 missed 2-point conversions.
It's weird.
Yeah. Quite weird, huh?
I guess yeah, because it is 30 to 25. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other time, see if there's a safety.
I feel fairly confident that there was a safety, because that would be.
Nope. You have a converted 2-point conversion.
Opposite.
Yeah. So Bubba Franks from Brett Favre got them from 3 to 11. And then they scored 2 more touchdowns to get to 25. And the in Minnesota, just kicked 2 field goals or 3 field goals, right, to get to 30.
Yeah,
That's
3
easy.
touchdowns, 3 field goals.
Yep.
That makes more sense than
So
25. 25 is kind of a weird number.
So how many safeties you have in this game?
No safeties. It's probably going to be a missed field goal or something to that extent.
At the no
Or
safeties.
Pat.
I think there used to be like a wasn't there like a prop bet on like no safety or something? Like always hitting. I don't know. Scrolling down looking for prop bets. I don't see anything. All right. Cool deal, man.
Alrighty. Well, I guess that concludes
Peace.
this stream. See you guys later. Peace.